already know like a lot of these issues and things exist in terms of Pokemon, right? So retrospectively, what let's do it like this. What do you like about Pokemon?
I like battling, and that's pretty much it. I want to be able to battle a friend with the Pokemon that I want, not the Pokemon that are available when the Game Freak says I have to pick. I
Uh,
like a challenge because Gold and Silver was hard when I first started, and trying to beat Lance, his three friggin' Dragonites. Yeah, that was kind of hard, but I did it, and I was 9 years old. I don't think we need hand holding and forced experience share and somebody healing you every 2 steps, and then another 5 steps, somebody telling you where to go to enjoy a game.
um, fair. um, but I mean, when I say is that something you like about the franchise? Just is it just the battling? Is it just the battling?
Yeah, because the story's the same as Red and Blue pretty much. So unless they do something to change it, the only thing in for me right now is battling.
I mean, not necessarily Sword and Shield. The genre itself, in the long scheme of things, the only thing you found enjoyable about it is battling.
Yeah,
But you can do that in Sword and Shield. So what's the pull away to not play Sword and Shield?
there's not many options. They've cut back on some items. They've cut back obviously on the Pokemon. They've cut back on moves. They say they cut down the Pokedex to balance the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how taking away 400 something Pokemon creates more options and balances it out. If they really wanted to balance it out in tournament wise, make a ban list.
Well, no, that's I don't think creating a ban list for in my opinion, I don't think creating a ban list is effective in a sense because everyone's got a favorite Pokemon, and you can't forget that one tournament where that one dude won with the Pachirisu, and it was like, did anybody see that? Did anybody
But
right?
that was a Pokemon he liked.
Yeah, that was a Pokemon you liked, and so on a like if you can't bring the Pokemon you like into a competitive aspect, win or lose, you know what I mean? Like then I think that is a genuine problem.
So one of two things needs to happen: either create a rotational ban list like the card game, or how we used to do. They can change now. Or what's it called? It escaped me. Hold on, just had it.
So I'm gonna continue on then. So if battling is the main reason, like I said, you can do battling in Sword and Shield. You're battling with new mechanics. There's obviously different Pokemon, but to that perspective, a lot of the new Pokemon do and facilitate some of those like moves and abilities and stuff that some previous Pokemon already did. So competitively, I think
It's just as
it's it
broken.
it is just as broken because
There's
of the
there was
mechanic
no
they
real
introduced.
balance.
I think it's broken because of the mechanic they introduced. Because again, with Mega Evolutions, if somebody was carrying a Pokemon that could Mega Evolve, you could pick and choose who you were. You could be like, okay, I'm gonna watch out for this one. I know I'm gonna watch out for that one, just based on um just based on the meta. Like fucking Mega Blaziken, that just went off rip. Like that went crazy. Especially Speed Boost Mega Blaziken. That I think Smogon or whoever banned that immediately. Like protect, substitute, protect into the same thing, then Mega Evolve and just.
Protect, Mega Evolve, same turn. Next turn, you got a powered up Blaziken
Mm-hmm.
with
Or
1.5 speed.
even worse, just baton pass all that stuff away. It's a fucking Blaziken. It'll come right back out and do the same thing. um, so stuff like that, I think the gripe is getting used to and adjusting to this new meta. You get what I mean? There's a new meta. Sandstorm teams are broken completely.
Was that a Mega?
Dynamax, Excadrill, just
that Stonewall move, and
that's it. That's it. Just sweep. Or Dynamax, Gyarados.
So you can
Max
see
Airstream, sweep.
So you can see how far that balancing out. Oh, that's the other thing. Change the entire battle mechanic.
No. You can't change the entire battle mechanic. That because that's the.
Like change the way it works, like in Temtem.
Okay, so if I'm Game Freak, how would I change my battle mechanic?
Do something along the lines like Temtems. Just throwing it out there. You have 100 points, I think, or something like that, to use on all your moves, and each move takes a certain amount of points. Once you get to once you have less points than you want to use, you can't use it.
So
they can think of.
So does that still limit me to a four move, to a four slot move pool, or am I can pick from a list of 120
You can raise it to
moves.
6 moves or 7 or 8. Just they can find some kind of way if they actually sit down and think about it. Think a way to balance everything out and keep people happy, because he can do it.
You believe that there's a way to balance Pokemon? I don't think so.
I know there is.
I don't think so. The only way to actually do that is to completely bypass. I believe is to completely bypass stats. Stats aren't a thing. You can raise any Pokemon to do whatever however it works. Like in Pokemon Go, before they added the extra stuff. Stats weren't a thing. It was like either this Pokemon's good or this Pokemon's bad based on its CP. That's it. That's all you had. Like that initial Pokemon Go thing where it's just, hey, you have a 10 CP Charizard or some bullshit like that versus a 1500 CP Magikarp. Magikarp hits harder than Charizard. That's it. You know what I mean? Bare bones it to that stat wise. No Pokemon is necessarily faster than the other, and if you want your Pokemon to be faster than the other, you have to use a move. I think that.
Do he have moves like that?
Agility.
In combat. Pokemon Go.
You don't necessarily move faster. You charge up faster as well. You now have moves that lower defense, lower attack, lower and like close combat lowers your defense partially, and you can see that Power Up Punch increases your attack in Pokemon Go. So it adds a little bit more of a competitive aspect to it, and like with moves that I think it's like Night Slash, where you have in the game you have a high crit rate in Night Slash, right? Yeah. In Pokemon Go, you have a chance to up your attack. I think that in itself is kind of cool. It's because it's niche. It's like a little thing you carry around. If you don't want to battle, you battle. If you don't, you don't. But
back to the competitive of Pokemon, I can't even play the game online because you seem to restrictions they have, right? You can't even battle.
That I think is a very poor choice. Limiting putting a huge timer on something that could.
You pick no restrictions, and there's still restrictions on there. They're forcing you to play the game the way they want.
Well, I originally, whenever I think about that, like the restrictions and stuff, I go back to. I can't remember because I can't remember exactly where it was said, how it was said, or what the real context of it was, but way back when they were introducing us to Sword and Shield, part of it was the balancing act with that was they wanted to appeal more to competitive players. Like the people who go to these like worldwide tournaments, and they've battled and done all these online matches and stuff. That's why they introduced that thing where, hey, if you're top something 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 in the world, you can get an invitation to go to this tournament. I think Sword and Shield was meant to appeal more to the competitive aspect. That's why we chopped out 400 something Pokemon, because these Pokemon didn't see the light of competitive, or again, if they didn't see the light of the competitive side, then they weren't used as often.
You could always just increase the stats of Pokemon to make them more competitive. They did.
Again,
They did that with Alakazam in Generation
again,
7.
that's like, hey, this Pokemon doesn't see enough competitive play, and I want it to. I believe that is nitpicking. That in itself is not balanced, because you already made the Pokemon the way to take, for instance, the Meganium thing. I swear to God, this bitch. I swear to God, Meganium like a good Pokemon. Come to find out, it's trash. It's trash. It really is trash. Its defense and special defense are all it's focused on. Are its main focuses, to be fair. So it's more of like
supposed to build up walls.
Yeah, like, you know, the kid I battled at one time, um he used Meganium just to set up dual screens and Toxic stall me. I would have thought, in the long run, Meganium would have had better viability than that outside of that. But then I go on Smogon and it's like Toxic Wall Meganium. I'm like, what the, you know, like what the frick? Because I like Meganium, not as much as Typhlosion. Like if I were to rank up Typhlosion from Gen 2, Typhlosion, Meganium, Feraligatr.
Aww.
Sorry, I don't like reptiles that much. um, so that was like my whole thing. That was kind of off, because it, like, especially going into the way they kind of disintegrated a lot of the move pool as well. I think a lot of that was done to balance the thing competitively, because like you said, they chopped off some abilities, chopped off some moves. A lot of it was just redundant stuff. Do you know what I mean?
And why there's still abilities that do the same exact thing.
Again, not everything. Not everything. I think, from the Game Freak perspective, is that, hey, I don't believe they had the time. I don't believe they took the time or had the time. Like, you're on a big time crunch to get this new game out. Okay, to kind of cut circuit just real quick. What I think happened or should have happened was, like, when they introduced Sword and Shield, they should have said we're cutting the national dex. They should have said we're gonna start out only with Pokemon you can find in the Galar region, and as time goes by, we will slowly expand and bring in other Pokemon, because it's going to be a lot of work. If they had said that instead of we're cutting the national dex, I think the outcry would have not been as harsh as it was.
They were on a time crunch because they needed to get out to make more money.
Well, Pokemon in itself, Game Freak is a franchise. They have to make money.
They have all the money in the world. But where did all that time, all the effort they put into that time, where is it in the game? It's nowhere to be seen.
I think
it's wild area to the 4 high quality animations and facial expressions and all that stuff.
This is the one.
Everything from the 3DS, like even what's the guy's name? Pop.
All of his animations are doing
the same thing. How does?
No, this is the only thing that very much irked me about Game Freak putting it on the Switch. There's no voice acting.
I saw this one scene, I think, right before you fight Eternus, where it's supposed to be like a big climactic scene. There's no music playing.
There's no music
All you
playing.
hear is the ding when you press A. Ding. Just complete silence. There's no immersion in the game.
Because again, I think the original intent behind Sword and Shield was just to, get the players who want to play Pokemon competitively. Like that was their target audience initially.
I don't think they had an audience at all. I think they just wanted the money.
No. I'm to give.
You're trying to give them credit.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
We know there's no.
We
can see.
Neither of us have actually played this game though. So, well, I haven't played it.
Kevin's Switch, and the more I played it, the more frustrated I got.
Did you finish it?
I didn't need to finish it.
No. So you got to the final boss.
No.
Okay.
But you can. All you do is play a couple battles, and you know how easy the game is because they literally heal you every other minute. Like just step away from battles.
Again, because I want to believe that they really did this game, Sword and Shield, before the expansion, all that stuff, for competitive players. The story is quick, it's to the point. You go somewhere, you battle, you go somewhere, you battle, you go somewhere, you battle, you get all your badges, you're done. Go straight into the competitive scene. Now, there's no post game, but all of the resources available to you are to help you get to a competitive level as a Pokemon trainer, battler, etc. That's what I believe, and that's my benefit of the doubt to Game Freak in this instance of Pokemon Sword and Shield before the expansion, right? And again, to do sort of that would be to cut off some of the Pokemon from the national decks, and then just bleed. I would say again, bleed them in slowly, so that way the competitive scene can expand as we introduce Wobbuffet and Dunsparce and
the new Slowpoke
Yanma. That was dumb. The new Slowpoke evolution thing, that was dumb. Hey, here's a Pokemon you can't evolve for another 3 months.
I think 6 months.
6 months. Here's a Pokemon you can't evolve or really do much with in 6 months. I think that was dumb. I think releasing that maybe a week or two as like a pre-order DLC type thing would have been better. Because then it's like, oh, I get to level this thing up as I go around as they slowly trickle in. Because when I think about the wild area, I'm like, there's nothing to do there, clearly. However, it looks like I'm meant to raise my Pokemon and become more attached to them through the camps and all that other stuff and yada yada yada.